for joining live today. I got a couple different platforms that I go live on, so I'm just getting them all set up and ready to go. We're on Instagram, YouTube, in our Facebook Q&A group, and on LinkedIn. And today I want to talk about one of my biggest pet peeves. And I hear this from so many people. They say, I had some labs done, but gosh, I never got the results back. They didn't call me and tell me. I had to call like 3 times and follow up. And, even sometimes they have to call and leave 3 messages, and someone calls them back or just really quickly and says, oh, everything came back fine. Don't worry about it. And to me, like, I can't fathom doing labs with someone and not having the opportunity to connect the information on the labs with why they came in and what they're feeling, so that we can break it down and talk about it and really tie the lab tests back to how they're feeling, what's important to them, what their priorities are. So I have somebody fill out their health history information, and I feel like one of my favorite questions is, what is important to you? Why are you here in the first place? And then when we get the labs, we can step through, look at them through the eyes of what were those priorities that they told me were important, so that I can speak to that. Because it's crazy to me that a practitioner would do these labs and then not give somebody the time of day to tell them about the results. And so that is one of the things that I feel like when I go over lab results with people, one of my goals is that they leave that visit saying, that was the most thorough evaluation and investigation of my labs that I've ever had done by any doctor. And she really explained to me what was going on. We go through, there's 80 some markers on the panel that I do. We go through them one by one and talk about them and just break it down so that it's like you want to know what's going on in your body. So I take quite a bit of time, and I want someone to leave that visit feeling empowered and with really good information of what's going on, what their priorities are. And so then we can turn around and create a care plan for them that takes all of those things that we found and turn them into action to make them feel better. And someone just chimed in saying, yeah, it's so frustrating not to get your lab results back. You're right. That's why I wanted to talk about it, because that's one thing that I'm not going to forget about you. If we run your labs and, we're supposed to have a conversation, we're going to sit down, and whether it's in person in the office here or we do it over Zoom, we can do everything on Zoom that we do in office. So whether that's a phone call, some people don't like to use Zoom and they want to do it on a phone call. And so I email them the labs ahead of time so they can print them out or look at them and do that. I got a question coming in about what is my favorite lab marker to run? Well, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to combine 2 of them together. And that would be thyroid antibodies. When they show up on a lab, they would be TPO, thyroid peroxidase antibodies, and TG for thyroid globulin antibodies. And the reason that those are my favorite is because the thyroid is just my baby. It's near and dear to my heart, because so many women are struggling and they just have been dismissed as, oh, your thyroid looks fine. And again, just like we're talking about, they get their thyroid numbers run and someone calls back, goes, everything looks fine. I don't know why you're feeling tired, or you have joint pain, or you can't lose weight, or your hair's falling out. I'm sorry, your thyroid's fine. But they didn't run those 2 numbers, those antibody numbers. And the reason it's my favorite is because all the time I see this, where the thyroid looks great. If all you're running is a TSH, that looks great. And even if you start to put on some more true thyroid markers like T4 thyroid hormone, T3 thyroid hormone, those still look good. But then we get to the TG and the TPO antibodies, and those are just asking whether or not you have some autoimmune problems where your thyroid gland is starting to break down. And the higher those numbers are, the more you know this tissue is breaking down. So in a lot of cases, we catch that early on in the game. Someone will have a TPO number of 30, 40, 50, slightly tiny elevation of a TG antibody level that lets us know, hey, you do have a thyroid breakdown by your immune system. And when they're that low and all the thyroid numbers are still in range, like the true thyroid numbers, then we know this is pretty early. And the good news is we know, hey, we got on top of this. So now we can do what we do in the functional space, and it's going to work. And you're not going to have to wait until, hey, by the way, your thyroid gland has been attacking itself for years. It's so far gone that it's so far gone that now we have no choice but to prescribe you some kind of thyroid hormone and leave you on it for the rest of your life because you have destroyed the tissue. Someone asked, do you always go into such detail explaining labs to every person? Absolutely. So that is just a little snippet of what we do in a report of findings. And of course, when we have your labs with your name on them and, oh, your thyroid's doing this. Oh, and by the way, your liver enzymes are slightly elevated. Did you know that 60% of your conversion from an inactive form of the thyroid hormone to the active form, the one that does all the good stuff, happens in your liver? That's, you've got something going on with your thyroid, but you've also got something going on in the liver that affects the thyroid or whatever it is. Like I said, there's 80 plus markers on this. I will spend more time on the things that need more attention in each person. And then that's where going back and really reading over their health history again and asking questions like, what matters to you? How do you want me to explain this to you? Then I feel like I am connecting to what they want to know and what they want to hear. If a good example is if someone has watched every woman in their family get breast cancer, they want to know when their labs are being reviewed, hey, what can I be doing to not get breast cancer? And what can you see on those labs that help me know I'm doing a good job or I'm not doing a good job? So we talk about things like anion gaps and vitamin D levels and metabolic markers. Cancer is largely metabolic. More sugar in your life, higher blood sugar, more predisposition to feed cancer. So hormone levels. Let's look at all three types of estrogen if you're a woman. And in men, you can look at them as a group, but in women, it makes sense to look at them that way and balance that with progesterone relative to estrogen and looking at all of that. So yes, thank you that's great information. Thank you for saying that. And all I can see when someone asks me a question on these lives is that's coming from Facebook. So thank you for asking those questions. I don't know who you are, but thank you to whoever you are asking great questions and giving me great feedback. The reason I'm here is to provide really good information. So share this information with your friends and family. The Q&A group is a great place to ask questions. So if you've had some of these labs run and you're like, hey, I'm looking at my thyroid and I had my TPO antibody numbers run and there are 500, what does that mean? Put it in if you're comfortable. I know that's medical information that you may or may not want to share. Keep it group friendly. Just post a question about that and we'll talk about it. And I can't give personalized, obviously, health information over a Facebook Live session, but I can generally say like, hey, this marker means this or that, and just color in some details for you on that. So thank you so much for tuning in and spending a few minutes of your day with me on these live sessions. And I'll be back next week. I have a really great topic for next week. If you're on here, we're going to be talking about what's being done to the foods we're eating. That I'm getting that all lined out and prepping that now. But I'm really passionate about improving what goes into our body, not just for us, but I have kids and grandkids, and that's really near and dear to my heart. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon.